So I'm not gonna lie and say I'm not biased at all, because I know in fact I am. So I started Yakuza with Yakuza 0 all these years ago, and then it quickly became my favorite franchise. And so I'm kind of reviewing from that standpoint. So I'm going to try to keep in mind that some things I'm used to, some things I'm not used to. There's some things that I'm used to and some things that other people won't be used to, because if it's the first game, the first time they tried it, or just whatever. And how someone fresh and never experiencing the stuff would feel like. I've always been terrible at say reviewing things, saying it's this or that score, all that nonsense. For me, that's very unimportant. I just kind of know what I like, know what I don't like, kind of talk about things, and that's really where I'm coming from. So I'm not gonna just say, oh, it's this arbitrary score, and then just that never doesn't work for me. So, can first timers enjoy this? The short answer is yes. It's a fun game overall, and you start as ex-gangster who just lost his memory, so throughout the whole entire game, you're experiencing stuff through his eyes, as if he's never experienced this for the first time. So at any time a character shows up and they've been there before, he doesn't know them, so you don't know them either. And a lot of the characters are brand new, so it's not like you're coming in halfway through a story. It's nothing you have to worry about. It's just this standalone story, and that kind of stays like that the entire game. Now, there are some story beats, that being said, that were brought up in the last game, like Dragon Infinite Wealth, and then kind of expand onto this game. Some people might say, oh yeah, you need to get every single game, and give a reason why you need to just start from scratch and just work your way over. While that's nice if you have the time, I know that's just unrealistic. So I'd say, at least if you can, the best experience would probably be just someone who starts with like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, because that there's an important story thread that I actually thought was forgotten, but apparently I thought it was some sort of plot hole or something like that they just kind of left alone. But apparently it became a bigger thread in this story, and it looks like they're kind of continue it in another game or something like that. I'm not sure where they're going with it and how it's going to continue and how it's going to progress. But basically, like Dragon Infinite Wealth is, I highly recommend that someone plays that first, and then if you want, just add more added context, added emotions, added I guess feeling for some of the characters. The man who writes his name, that also is a good addition to it. But overall, this is pretty much a story you can play from scratch, especially someone who's new to the series. If they want to, they just pick it up and then play it. And because once again, he has amnesia, so everything that you feel, everything that he feels is first time feeling. So it's not there's all this emotional baggage that's packed on from being maybe the 20th or 30th game in the series. It's just none of that is. It's all all these characters came out as soon as this game came out for the first time. No one's has that history with Majima. It's just that. Where did you get dirt from? Clean your goddamn floor. Oh my god. Ichiban, get away from there. No! Okay. Oh, you go on the side too. So we're not safe at all. We're not safe at all anymore. Okay. Now, this is the first time he plays Goro Majima in a long time, so that's really good, refresher, from the main series, which is mostly turn-based now, like a Dragon 7. Well, technically, this name is Yakuza 7 Like a Dragon, and then they started changing the name of the franchise to Like a Dragon, just in general. So that's why the next game was Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Anyway, so in Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, the last game, they both had turn-based combat, different types, of course, because like games evolve and everything. But they're both turn-based combat, and then the man who erases his name. Not only is that a 3D brawler type, that also has for the first time they introduced a agent style where you just basically like throw cigarette bombs, use jet boots. Have these like spider webs like that just zoom around and everything, wrap up enemies, do all this crazy nonsense and everything. So that so there's already like a lot of variety and all that stuff. Plus this game, like, it's just Majima's completely crazy and everything. It's just that's just his whole style. Like he has two fighting styles. One, Mad Dog, where you pretty much just kind of zip around the field. You could take away people like one at a time, pick them off. It's not Devil May Cry, but it's not like I don't know if I see 16. It's not Stellar Blade, but you still like just zip around, like hit people, knock them there, juggle them a bit, do whatever you want with them, and kind of just like play around that way. And then a new style, because there are pirates here, is Sea Dog. Sea Dog, it's more, I could say it's more about big battles with that thing, because and you can do it with anybody, but like some a lot of the moves like cover entire areas. A lot of the heat actions are for like 4 or 5 guys at a time. It's all like it's pretty much a crowd control all the time, every day. And even with that, I'd say Mad Dog is, despite like I'd say like Sea Dog is way stronger, but despite that, Mad Dog has probably one of the most overpowered moves in the entire game, because you can summon clones, and then on top of that, there's a move where you use your clones and then they just destroy the enemy's health bar. It got to the point where I tried that on the final boss at the very last stage of the final boss too, and then it took away like 3 health bars just in a matter of, in that one move, like 3 health bars. Then the clones remained after that, so they just kept chipping away, and then I keep beating that way. I was just like, wow. So no matter what style you pick, you can just do whatever you want. It's your choice. And I'd say if the game was longer, 2 styles wouldn't be enough. But like the way they did it is, by the time you actually reach the end of the game, even like with a whole bunch of grinding and stuff, you do just like generally you kind of get put like all your money into both styles, and you just kind of have a fun time. If it was just, I'd say if it was like 10 hours longer, they probably would drag on and it might get a bit boring. But like the way they did it, it's like still like it does the job and everything. And you don't really get too sick of it, because you have like a lot of different options still popping up. And of course, because this is a pirate game as well, you do have a pirate ship, you have a crew, you can like sail around and everything, and like a bunch of different maps actually. Though like for me, I'd say I kind of like it, but at the same time, it's no Black Flag. So like if you came in expecting like feel like you're playing AAC Black Flag, you're not going to get that experience. Like, it's fun, but not that fun. Especially like the ship itself does kind of annoy me, where like it is not fast. So I'm just sailing from one end of the map to the other, and it's taking forever. They have like a booster where you just press one button and like it boosts like a little bit. But even with that, it still felt like I was just taking forever, and it just kind of felt like more of a chore sometimes. So I'm not gonna lie, that's like I like it, but at the same time, it kind of felt like they just did it enough to like make it an okay system, but then didn't go like beyond that. I guess probably because they probably don't plan on using this system again. It's probably pirate stuff is probably over, I'm guessing. Next game won't be pirate stuff. 4 games after won't be pirate stuff. It's gonna be different each time. And they just did this for the sole purpose of being different. So it's something to just like dip your hands in, and there are like fun like pirate activities and everything like that. But as far as the gameplay, it's I'd say it's fun having pirate battles on a ship. It's fun having laser cannons or like getting off the ship and then just like shooting a rocket launcher and like doing all this other stuff. But it's not over the top. Oh my god, I love this kind of feeling. So, yeah. As far as music is concerned, I was actually had like a few different opinions while I was thinking of this review. At first, I was going to be kind of a little bit more harsher on it, thinking, "Oh man, it's not too good." I've seen better, I've heard better in other games and in the series. But then, basically, when I was trying to think of how to structure this review, I was listening to some songs from the OST and everything, and they're actually magnificent. All the songs that are in this video are from the OST. They're all from the game. Their boss battle music, their battle music, their like music you just hear or walking around and everything, that kind of thing. But so the reason why I was going to be harsh on it is because in both this game and the last game, they pretty much give you like on your smartphone a playlist where you just like put your own songs into it, and you find those songs by either from just picking them up in the on the area and everything, or buying them from actual store, or then like if you do like some sort of side activity and get points from that, you can just buy them from that side activities points and everything, and then eventually just like create a playlist of those songs. Now, the reason why I was kind of harsh on that is because in the last game, they gave you so many different hits. Like, you got stuff from Atlas, like Persona music. You got stuff from, like, various different things, like Sonic, like, all these different major Sega titles. And it was just great. And you still have that same thing here, but then it's like, I feel like it's not as strong. Like, for example, they had a Angry Birds soundtrack there, which honestly I actually never knew until this game that Angry Birds was bought by Sega a couple years ago. So that's just a fun fact. But anyway, so like there are like 3 or 4 songs that are from Angry Birds, and then there were some songs from Virtua Fighter, and it's just like the character selects music or someone's theme and everything. Like, I have no problem with those, but it's just, I feel like they could have been better. Those kind of feel like they're kind of just scraping at the bottom of the barrel for some things. And I want to, and pretty much the only time you use those songs are when you're just walking around, or if you're in your ship, or if you're on that little scooter thing that you kind of drive around in the city with. You just like listen to music then, and it's nice, but at the same time, their selection just wasn't as strong as last time. That as far as the actual like important soundtracks, like if you're fighting a boss or if you're doing anything in the game itself, it's just a great time. So I'd say in one category they just succeed like they always do. It's phenomenal music, but on the other end it's just like the actual walking around and music that you choose to play, that's not as great. But on the other end, you can always just not play anything. In fact, actually, that's what I started doing, which I could be, you can see as a downside, because I don't know if it was really the quality of music, or if it was just after a while I heard some songs enough, then I didn't want to just like reorganize my playlist. I just kind of want to stop, so I just stopped playing it. That's like, I'm not sure what to say about it too much really.
私だけを見て。
ゴロ。
過去に何かあっただけってことは、今は何もないっていうことなんだよね。じゃあさ、今恋人がいないって言うんだったら、
Why is this happening?
私ね、ずっと前から船長のこと。
What the fuck is this happening? Now this is really what Yakuza games are known for mostly. Even people that don't know the series well know about Substories. Like, pretty much like I'd say 90% of the crazy stuff that happens in the series is from Substories. Like, and what I always do is I would just like play a few of the story quests and everything. I just do some stuff like that, and after a while, I'm like, okay, I spent like this amount of time doing that. Let me just like go around the town, and because by that time, you've unlocked like a lot of different sub stories from just like each new chapter or something like that. And yeah, just like before, they get kind of crazy. Like, of course, the time I was talking to this tiger that was professing its love to me, which was just weird, of course. And then one of the weirdest sub stories I've ever seen in a Yakuza game. Now, I won't spoil it too much, but pretty much there are like a whole bunch of other sub stories you just you unlock at the same time, and then you're doing them, and then apparently they lead up to one giant one that turns into some sort of 1 hour long live action interactive thing, and things that go on in that 1 hour are very weird, kind of crazy, and you can't look away and just like, what is happening right now? That was definitely like, okay. So whenever you think you've seen it all, and you think you really do, they really surprise you sometimes, and it's that kind of reason that I do like these games. Now, the other side content, of course, they have other things like money making ventures, for example, crazy delivery, like where it's basically crazy taxi, except you're a crazy Uber Eats driver, or I'm trying to remember the other. Uber Eats. That's the one. And it's just like you do crazy moves to make more money. Just keep building stuff up, and then that wasn't Infinite Wealth too. They actually added a new map too. So I'm glad that they did that, because at first I was like, okay, they did this in Infinite Wealth, so I'm not really gonna touch this. But then I did at least try the new map a few times just to like play around with that. And then they also brought Dragon Kart back, which is like a Mario Kart, of course, like the name suggests. Except I think in the last game it was in Japan, and so this game, because like it's only in Hawaii, Dragon Kart's in Hawaii also as well. So you have those kind of things, plus just kind of whatever you want. And and actually also because every Yakuza game has this where they randomly just like during the middle of a story quest and everything, they'll introduce this random character thing or something like that, and then that leads you on to like a huge whole side story and everything, that with their own characters that never mentioned again outside of that little thing, where you get extra money, where you get all this new cool stuff. And with this game, because it's a pirate game, like involved this other group of pirates you have to take down, and then each time like you take one down, you end up getting some sort of dark instrument of the sea, and that's just when you start doing crazy nonsense. Like I remember, like there's one where you play the instrument, I think it's ocarina. You summon jellyfish. Those jellyfish paralyze all the enemies, and then heals you. So I use that a few times just for the healing. And then, of course, the first one they get like that pretty much you beat the game with this, because it's the one that they add like in the main story and everything. It's the sharks. You summon like some ghost sharks from like another dimension or something like that, from beings from behind in space and everything, and then all of a sudden they just destroy the entire field by like going into the air, eating everybody, chewing everything, and they just like destroy the whole field for you. Let me test this. How does it work? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that's fun. That's fun. I remember one time I decided, okay, I'm just gonna do this. So I spent many hours, and that was it. I just spent many hours just getting make sure I got all these different instruments so I can have more options. I guess pretty much that was it. Because like it's not God mode, but you got a lot of stuff to work with at the end of that sub-story. Now, overall, I'd say this is a worthwhile game. Of course, that doesn't come without cons. One is, I'd say, the length, because while sub-stories are the meat of the franchise, this game is very short. And I didn't realize how short it was until I decided to just do story stuff. Like, I think I was 20 hours in, and I was still in chapter 2. And I think I was in chapter 2 itself for like 15 hours. That was one piece I was just like walking around the town and stuff. Then, like 2 hours later, because chapter 2, when I was at chapter 2, I was at the end of chapter 2. It was pretty much you just go this one location, have a talk, and then chapter 3 starts. So I did that, then 2 hours later, because I decided to just do story stuff, I was ready at the end of chapter 4. And I was just like, wow, that was extremely short. And that wasn't the end of the game or anything, but so I started stuff after that, but I was like, this stuff is zipping by. But of course, that's not too much of a con because you have other stuff to do. But that kind of leads me up to the other complaint I have, the locale. Now, it's different because instead of being this turn-based game, it's like trying to think, it's just a not live action, real-time action game, I guess. Yeah, real-time. Because it's one of those games, it's not like the field is different and everything, so you're not dealing with like the same stuff everywhere. But I'm pretty sure like I saw some of the same PCs I saw a year ago when I played Infinite Wealth, which is once again not a huge con, but like you just know that's the same stuff. Now the reason like when it gets to con territory is I mentioned Crazy Delivery before. Crazy Delivery was in the last game. And I originally just wasn't going to touch it at all, mostly because I did it a few times in the last game. I already knew that it didn't give me that much money, plus the fact that I did it a lot already was fine. So I wasn't really touching that. Same with Dragon Card, but actually I never really touched Dragon Card in general. I guess that one's just not particularly for me. It's fun, but at the same time, I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. And every few games they do create a map, and then just it's either the map for that next few games, or they use that map in like 2 games later. So this might be the end of the Hawaii map, maybe not, and maybe like 4 years from now they're gonna use it again for something. Who knows? But at the moment I think they're done with it. Who knows? For now, as soon as I started the game, I kind of knew where most things were, because I think it doesn't take place a year after the last game story, so not much, of course, has changed. And something else unrelated to any of that was the way Yakuza's games usually work is you have a very, very super serious crime drama as the main story. Even if it's not involving Yakuza at all, it's just crime drama. Like a Japanese crime drama. And then sub-stories are where shit just gets crazy. It was they kind of not blended, but the line was very, very thin this time around. Like Majima is first of all, it's Majima. Majima is just crazy incarnate, so that I kind of give it a pass for that, because he's not a serious character most times, so I wouldn't expect it to be all doom and gloom and everything that when it comes to the story. Same thing with Ichiban in the main game. He's different than Kiryu, so it's not always super serious, though even some super serious stuff happens. So overall, I would like recommend this game. If someone's a big fan of the franchise, yeah, definitely get it. If someone is thinking about it, I'd say you could wait a few months, maybe like one's on sale, or just like you could just buy it like when it's $10 cheaper. It's not like something you have to avoid buying, especially because like if you're new to the series, you have even more content than I did because like I've avoided some stuff because I knew about it before, so I played this stuff before in the last game, so I kind of just ignored it. So like a new person has even more like at the fingertips than I do, and I really hope that anyone who does like enjoy this game, if they have time to like just go back and play the other ones, like because once again, Yakuza 0 is fantastic. I My exposure to Yakuza was Yakuza, I think, yeah, it was 4. There was a PlayStation demo on PS3 or something like that, and I played it. I didn't really care about it at all, and I heard like how great Yakuza 0 was, and then I bought that. I loved it. I think before I even finished Yakuza 0, I already ordered Yakuza Kiwami, and then I was just down the rabbit hole. That was me for the next few years, and now I'm just a huge ass fanboy about it. But even if you don't go down that rabbit hole like I did, it's still just a fun game. Like, you just do what you want, and might surprise you.